So there's a group of people that are ruining our manga. That's right, people. A group of people that are actually having a very heavy decision, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. I repeat, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, maybe there is something we could do about it. I don't know. Now, in a recent interview at New York Comic Con, we got the full-on interview from the creator of Fairy Tail, and he dropped a bombshell. There was quite a bit of juicy stuff in the interview, but there was one thing in particular that caught my interest, and I really wanted to talk to you guys. I think this is very important so that we all have a clear understanding why a lot of our series have some really terrible, horrible written moments. That's right, people. And the group of people that I'm talking about are the Japanese readers of manga magazines. Those people right now, and I guess throughout all of time, are the ones that have had a huge say in what goes on in our manga. And the reason being is because the reader polls, we've talked about the reader polls in many videos throughout the years, and it comes to a point where I'm hearing from, the actual creator of a very popular series, Fairy Tail, one of the big reasons, those moments in Fairy Tail that I practically strangled myself on video over, and what I'm referring to is when we think a character is about to die, or we thought died, and magically comes back. Yeah, that's because of the Japanese readers. I'm not gonna lie. And what I was talking about earlier in this video of what we can do to change this is the fact that it has to get to a point, which it probably never will, being 100% honest with you. But if it got to a point where the money that is being made off manga and anime rivals that of what they're making in Japan over here, if it blows up in the West, then we can have a say, and our feedback will be as, if not more important than what goes on over there. And one of the big reasons why stuff like that happens, for example, is because the Japanese readers, and we'll talk about specific series and shit like that, but the Japanese readers really don't like when characters die. Now, that's one of the reasons why, and don't get me wrong, because the series itself isn't all that good to begin with, but a series like Kame Got Killed, let's talk about Kame Got Killed, right? Very controversial. A lot of people hate it and think it's trash and all that shit. But one of the reasons why in Japan it failed miserably, it did horrible in Japan, even though it had, a 24 episode anime, it did horrible. But in the West, it did pretty good. It actually did good. It probably made them just about, if not more money in the West than it did in Japan, is because we actually were down for that shit. Now granted, Akame Got Killed, it spammed death. It was like every episode, one of your favorite characters died. You know what I'm saying? So that's an exception to the rule, but nevertheless, the Japanese readers don't give a shit, and they don't want characters dying. And that's one of the reasons why in Fairy Tail, like Makarov, for example, this motherfucker survived death how many times? So many characters in Fairy Tail, even going to Naruto, Bleach, like a lot of series that did the fake outs, it's because of the Japanese readers. And I'm gonna read more or less what he said, but honestly, hearing this shit is like, wow, so these are the culprits, and there's really nothing we can do. Now granted, don't take it personally, because it's just the reality, the control that they have based off the reader polls. Essentially, it's like these authors, it also falls on them. Let's not completely say that it's them, but it's the authors that you could argue just don't have the balls to do it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you got to look at it in many aspects, right? You got to say, well, okay, he doesn't have the balls to do it. Okay, the Japanese readers, they just want it the way they want it. But also at the same time, looking at it as a man, right? This is his career. He's so fucking happy he made it. Is he going to want to risk it all and fuck up his career because he's not listening to his fans? So you got to take that into account as well. But let's read what the man was asked and what he had to say regarding this particular subject. They asked, sometimes in Fairy Tail, characters die, but they always come back. Why did you decide to do this? For whatever reason, they wrote both this. This has to do with the fact that in Raid Master, a lot of characters actually died, and it turned out to be a sad story. When you are working on a manga in a magazine, it is up to the readers' polls and feedback whether you can actually stay in the magazine. To be quite honest, the chapters that have the death of a really important character get a lot of reaction. Knowing this, I really wanted to make sure that people don't die in my series. So at that point, you gotta say, okay, wait a minute. So you're basically honestly saying that because the fans and the readers don't like it, you say fuck it. So you allow the readers to have big control over major plot points in your story. It's kind of like, yo, hero, you should have had the balls to do it. And it's kind of like, yo, Japanese fans, if a character needs to die because it's a very impactful moment and it can help for development and growth of the other characters, it needs to fucking happen. I cannot imagine, like, and from what I hear, Hiro Mashima in the same interview, he actually says he's a huge fan of Game of Thrones. So it seems as though maybe Hiro Mashima did want to pull the trigger on a lot of characters. Maybe he actually did want to keep them dead, but because of the readers saying, I'm dropping this shit, fuck this shit, he had to do the reverse. And on top of that, you got editors over your shoulders. You got the, editorial staff. You got the publishers on top of you like, nah, you can't do this. So there's a lot of factors into it, but it just really makes me feel a certain way that these authors are controlled by the fans because the fans can't accept some shit. Like, I don't even know, to be honest with you, obviously I'm not in Japan, but I don't even know what the reaction was. But you got to think, like, for example, in Naruto, when Jiraiya died, I'd imagine there was an immense reaction in so many aspects, but look how well that worked. That was one of the most impactful moments in the entirety of Naruto. It helped the main character grow and change and experience something huge in his life that kept him going and moving and shit like that. And it's like, those moments sometimes need to happen. Now, again, you go to a series like Akame ga Kill, yeah, it's too much, you know what I'm saying? But like a lot of the deaths that happen, and that's also why I truly believe they never really kill off the main cast of mostly anything. Like, go to One Piece. Two of the biggest deaths that actually happened was Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard. He died, and Ace. Spoiler alert. But what I'm saying is, Ace, he was a popular character, but he wasn't one of the Straw Hats, for example. Likewise with Whitebeard. He was somewhat popular. Well, probably really popular. I don't know what the polls were at that time or whatever, but he was a popular character, but he wasn't one of the main ones. And God knows what the reaction was over there when that happened, because to this day, Ace is still one of the most popular characters in One Piece. But Oda pulled the trigger, and it did immense great things for the characters, for Luffy as a main character, for his brother to die and shit like that. You go to Naruto, it's probably why Neji was allowed to die in Naruto, was because at that point, Kishimoto had made him such a back character that nobody even really remembered. Not necessarily didn't remember, but he was so unimportant at that point that it was like, it was okay because the fans wouldn't get that mad. But look at the promise that Naruto made to Sasuke. If we throw at it, we go at it, we throw hands and shit like that, one of us is going to die. And that's probably why Kishimoto couldn't have that happen. Probably because the fandom would go insane. And that's probably why at the end of One Piece, Luffy probably won't die because of the fans. You know what I'm saying? It's insane. You go to Bleach. I do remember hearing about this one when Byakuya Akutsuki, a very big fan favorite of the Bleach characters, when he was supposed to die and then he came back, I did hear that Kubo got a massive backlash, and that's why he decided to reverse Byakuya's death. It is fucking insane. I'm really annoyed by this, that a group of readers, because they can't handle fictional characters dying, they control essentially the writers and their creativity and their work, and that's why we be raging sometimes. And to put it all, like for example with Fairy Tail, one of the big things I gotta say, if you know this and you know that your readers can't handle it, then don't fucking tease it. That's what I'm going to say as well. Do not tease it. Like, okay, you know you're not going to go through with it, so then don't act as if it's going to happen and disrespect the intelligence of the readers that are like, we know what you're doing right now, bro. Like, stop it. So a lot of, honestly, reading this, and there's more to this full interview. I'm going to have a link in the description below so you can check out the whole thing. There's a lot of interesting things he talks about, but in particular that it shows the reader polls and their reaction and their feedback has so much weight and bearing, and it's a shame that there's really nothing us in the West can do about it, because this is all the Japanese readers, their voting, their commentary and shit like that. And it's like, unless the West can rival someday, which it probably never will happen, the amount of money that is made over there, we probably can't say nothing. Honestly, I think one of the very few exceptions is Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball, it rivals, if not does better, in the West than in Japan. So we could argue, hey, we might have a say-so. They know what we like over here, so they kind of cater to us and shit like that. But aside from like Dragon Ball, and maybe to a small degree, some of Naruto shit, we don't gotta say so. We can't do nothing about it. Kind of curious what you guys think about it though. How do you feel knowing that the Japanese readers have so much control to the point where major plot points in your favorite series are changed because of their emotions and their reaction? Does that piss you off? Also, aside from what I said, do you see some other solution where we could change this, where we can actually have a say-so and say, no, fuck that shit. That character should have died. It was a great and meaningful death. Leave it as is. And your overall thoughts of this, I can't believe it. The creator of Fairy Tail Hero Mashima really dropped a big bombshell with this, and it's like, damn. It really is legit. The reader polls have too much control. So after this one though, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Japanese readers, stop ruining some of our favorite series. It's bullshit.